Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Safari Mack Explores North America. I'm Safari Mack, your guide and host, helping you make connections to the wild. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we had fun with the Coyote in Arizona, but today we are leaving Arizona and traveling next door over to New Mexico to look for the Coyote's comical counterpart of the Looney Tunes universe, the Roadrunner. Now, you'll probably notice that I didn't reveal the Latin name, that's for a different. And the reason for this, I'll explain later on in today's episode. But as always, before we begin our journey, if you're new to my series or to my channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Then head over to my Facebook page so that you can check out special tips and practices, as well as different conservation projects that you can do in your own home or backyard, as well as catch up on conservation projects from all over the world. And finally, if you have a question about an animal that you like, or if there's an animal that you would like me to do in the future as we continue our world journey, feel free to send me an email, which you will always find the link to down in the description below. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's begin. As always, we will begin with its family and its evolution. Now, here's the first cool bit. There isn't really one Roadrunner species like you probably know from the Looney Tunes universe, but there are actually two kinds. Whether it's a greater Roadrunner, which is also known as Geococcix californius, or its cousin, the lesser Roadrunner, known as Geococcix velox. But for today's purposes, and because this bird is more found in the area where we're hanging out today, New Mexico, we're going to focus specifically on the greater Roadrunners. Now, you might think because it spends a big chunk of its life on the ground that it's like a member of the quail family, right? The real answer might actually completely shock you. Its closest cousin is actually that of the cuckoo bird. Yes, the same, and yes, I'm not really just referring to the bird that you hear from in the classic grandfather clock, but the real counterpart. Now, it seems hard to believe, but what exactly is the connection? I'll reveal to you little bits and pieces here and there in today's part 1 episode, but one key element is because it produces a kind of coo-like sound, so do Roadrunners. But there's another cool feature. Here I'd like to show you a crow's foot, which you can see here has 3 toes in the front and 1 toe in the back. That's similar to that of a chicken. And then here is a Roadrunner, or a cuckoo bird's foot, where you see 2 in the front, but 2 in the back. This kind of foot is called zygodactyl. Zygodactyl. I know it's a little hard to remember, but that's okay. Birds with zygodactyl feet, like parrots or macaws, they're able to use this to hang from different purposes, or even, as macaws will do, they'll use it to grab onto stuff like nuts or fruit and eat from there. But like I said, we're just focusing on this bird today, the Roadrunner. Now, unfortunately, in terms of its evolution, there really hasn't been much discovered as to where and when specifically the Roadrunner first originated. But what I can tell you is that some of the oldest known fossils that have been found of the greater Roadrunner that we know of today date back to 33,500 years ago. So, and that 25 different fossils of the greater Roadrunner have actually been found in Los Angeles' famous tourist attraction as well as paleontological site, the La Brea Tar Pits. So next time you go by, ask them. I'm sure they'll be able to tell you how many they found recently. Moving on to their habitat, lifestyle, and their family life. Now, the greater Roadrunner you can find almost through a good portion of the southwestern United States, including California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, all of Texas, the majority of Oklahoma, and other states, as well as going into Central America, or if you want me to be specific, Mexico. Now, the greater Roadrunner has a variety of habitats, and these include the brushlands and grasslands, but also the deserts, riparian woodlands, the Grand Canyon area, and even the pinyon juniper woodlands, as well as limestone formations, as well as farmlands, even suburbia. Basically, wherever there is plenty of space and where it's really hot, as well as plenty of space to run around in, you'll find greater roadrunners. Now, in terms of their lifestyle, greater roadrunners they're mostly would prefer to live alone, but they have been known to live together in pairs. And sometimes during the breeding season, the male will do a little special courtship display or even a dance, as you can call it, to impress the female. He'll even thrash around food to draw her attention. Now, here where I'm about to show you a little bit of a dark side to the family life. Now, generally, roadrunners are known to lay around 2 to 8 eggs, right? But that's not to say that they're going to always raise the young. Here comes the dark side. Cuckoo birds are known to be parasitic brooders. So, I'll explain it as best I can. So first, take a look at this nest. You have 3 eggs that are the same, but one of them is completely different. That's because this was laid by a different bird, the cuckoo bird. So you see, the cuckoo bird doesn't really raise their own offspring as you would think. Instead, they would prefer to let the simpler birds or other birds do the work for them. So mom lays the egg when the parents are out, and then the other birds are fooled into thinking they have an extra bundle of joy. Seems cool, right? Unfortunately, it turns out to be the worst thing, because as soon as the egg hatches, it wastes immediately no time in getting rid of the competition. As some photography has shown hatchlings actually pushing out unhatched eggs from the nest. So, of course, the mom and dad probably don't realize this until, unfortunately, it's too late. So here you have a wren species, and here's the cuckoo bird. You can see the difference, right? Or how these guys don't realize that this isn't their chick is beyond me. But either way, the parents feed them and nurture them, and as I said, either the eggs are already rolled out, or those that do survive, unfortunately, they starve and will then die from neglect. Soon enough, the cuckoo bird takes off, and they leave their foster parents without any of their own chicks to raise. Unfortunately, roadrunners have been known to practice parasitic brooding as well, as they have been seen in crows' nests and other birds' nests simply laying their eggs. Now, how are they getting up there? I'll explain in the next episode. But now we're moving on to their diet. Because of their habitat, mostly the harsh desert environment, they have to eat whatever they can get. And that includes small rodents, insects, lizards, and of course and snakes. Now, a cool thing about these guys, don't worry about them getting enough water, because as much food as they eat, that allows them to acquire as much water as their body needs. Now, if you're living out in the desert and if you're afraid of rattlesnakes, consider these birds to be your best friend, because they are the #1 hunter for young rattlesnakes. It seems daring and impossible, but I assure you, they know what they're doing. The bird first usually circles around the young snake, kind of confusing it as fast as possible, and then at the last second, boom, it catches its prey and then begins to thrash all over the place, even beating it to the ground. It's harsh, but this is how nature told them to survive and how to hunt effectively. So for the young rattlesnake, beware of the roadrunner. Finally, we are going to end today's Part 1 episode with their influence in Native American culture. And while this roadrunner from Looney Tunes is popular, I'm afraid I have to exclude him for this one because he's not really our main focus. So, sorry. But let's look at how they are influenced in the Hopi and other Pueblo tribes of the desert. They believe that the roadrunners are a kind of medicine bird and that they were capable of warding off very evil spirits. Even their footprint, the X-shaped footprint, they were seen as sacred symbols and were believed to confuse evil spirits by concealing the bird's direction of travel. Even their feathers were sought after because they were thought to be perfect tools to keep evil spirits away. I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time I have for part one today, but be sure to join me next week for part 2 of the Roadrunner, as well as the reveal of the next animal. But until then, this is Safari Mack. I'll see you all out there.